Hello, everyone. Yesterday, we discussed exactly what was the problem with Nadav and Avihu. For those of you who don't know who Nadav and Avihu is, Nadav and Avihu were the two elder sons of Aaron the Cohen. Aaron the Cohen was the older brother of Moses. And he had four sons that were very holy, and two of them were so holy that they couldn't hold themselves back. And the first day that the tabernacle was open in the desert, right, the Jews left Egypt, so they had this tabernacle that they built, which was the forerunner, the prototype of the Holy Temple. And the first, as soon as it opened up, before anybody could even go and make official sacrifices over there, these two boys, young men, ran in and into the Holy of Holies, of all places. They ran into the Holy of Holies and they died. It says a fire came out from heaven and it went into their nostrils and devoured them. And Moses immediately afterwards said, these two people, these two sons, they didn't do the right thing, but they are holy. They sanctified the Holy Temple. They're the ones that inaugurated the temple. So, but nevertheless, they died. It was a punishment. God punished them. So what was exactly their punishment? Moses said that they were holy, they were good, and God said that it wasn't good. So what's going on over here? Were they good or not? And so the answer is yes. What type of answer is that? They were holy, but and Moses was right, they were holy, but they were too holy. They wanted to be separate from the world. They didn't want anything to have anything to do with the world, because the world is too, how do you say, crass. The world pulls you down, gives you all these worries and anxieties and things like that, and all these thoughts about yourself. And anybody who really has a brain in his head would understand that you don't have anything to worry about, right? God is taking care of everybody. And sure, there are challenges in life, but you meet the challenges and everything will be right, everybody. But the fact is, no one thinks like that. Nobody. So we all don't have brains in our head. The fact is, we don't have brains in our head. If we do, maybe we do have brains in our head, but we don't use them. If we would use them, we'd realize that all there is God, and God is creating us, and God loves us. God wants us to be here, and that God is good. And that's what none of you realized, how good God is, and they wanted to get close to God. But what was their problem? That was what they wanted. But that's not what God wanted. God is true, He's good, He's great, He's wonderful. God is the creator, He's the source of all being, source of all life, source of all good, source of all pleasure. But what are you supposed to do with that information? Either you're supposed to understand, well, God is so good, I want to just get closer to Him. Or you can understand, God is so good, I want to do what He says. And they ignored the second part. That in the language of Kabbalah and of Hasidut, the language of Hasidut, is called Rotzei Velo Shuv, running without coming back. Having a big lust, a desire, and you don't know what to do when you get the desire. Just want to be there with God. That's it. And that's what they got. So that part of it was really good and praiseworthy, that they wanted to be close to God. But the part that they didn't want to come back, that's not the name of the game. Gimel. Rashi says, as their tzivoy, the commandment. Al yavo b'kol eit al kodesh, the commandment, you are not allowed to come at any time you want to into the Holy of Holies, right? Only Aaron can go in, the high priest, and he can only go in once a year on Yom Kippur, and then when he goes in, he has to do exactly what he's told to do. Bezos yavo Aaron l'kodesh. Then this Aaron will come into the holiness. Vashted, what says gleich immediately after Achrei Mot Bnei Aaron, it says that the two sons of Aaron, they died, and immediately afterwards, God told Aaron the laws of the Holy Temple, of when you're supposed to go in and when not. As Kumtsu Sholo, this, because God says don't go in whenever you want, this comes to discourage and varnen, and to warn, as it zol nitzain, it should not be the type of service of God of the two sons of Aaron. The two sons of Aaron, their intentions were great.
They wanted to serve God, but their actions were wrong. Darf men verstehen, we have to understand. Like them what we said before. Vu is in their tzivoit. Where is it hinted at? The shlilas avoda from Ratzah Anshuv. Where do we see this? That Aaron, that God says to Aaron, don't come whenever you want to into the holy place. Where do we see from this that that was their sin? It just says don't go in, right? Don't go in whenever you want to. But it doesn't say anything about you, but you have to come out. But it doesn't say anything that the problem with Aaron and his sons was he didn't come out. God should have said, if that's what he wanted to warn Aaron, you shouldn't just try to come close to God all the time. I want you to be in this world. God should have said to Aaron, when you go into the holies, be sure you go out. Be sure you come out. And God didn't say that. He just said you can only go on Yom Kippur, and this is what you have to do when you're inside. And that's all. It doesn't say anything about you must come out. And that was their sin. Their sin was that they didn't want to come out. They just wanted to get close to God. They didn't want to be in the world. So where is it hinted at that that was their sin? Where in the Torah should they have understood that what they were doing was not what God wanted? God didn't want you to just come close. He wants you to come close and use that closeness to fix up the world. Where did they get this thing about fixing up the world? But that was their sin because they refused to fix up the world. Where does it say that? To verstehen, to understand, as Darfman Maktin, first of all, we have to precede. Wie is kolol shayech zu halten by shuv zaindik and azoi hoicha madrega from Matzah. How is it possible that a person that is so holy, like Aaron's sons, and they know how good God is and how it is accessible, a person can actually put his consciousness, remove all the stupid things of this world, just not pay attention to them, and yes, start to pay attention to what's good. Huh? How is it possible to do this? Well, to pay attention to what's good, that's their ability. There's some people who are musicians. You ever go, you see a concert musician, he just can stand up on the stage and he thinks about absolutely nothing other than the music for an hour, 2 hours. He's not thinking about the crowd and he's not thinking about his debts. He's nothing about anything, just about the music. So we see people, these guys that play sports, they're just thinking about the game all the time. Boxers. So it's possible to think about one thing concentratedly for an hour. Right? They went into the Holy of Holies. You can think about, but what about going out? Where does it say you're supposed to go out? Where is it supposed to say you're supposed to leave? How is it possible that if a person really appreciates God so much that at the same time that he has this tremendous desire for God, he's thinking about going out? How could it be? This musician standing on the stage, it's like when he's there, he's thinking about, oh wow, tonight I have to put a little bit more paprika on the meat because my wife didn't like it. That I had to. Well, he's not thinking about what's going to be in the world. Oh wow, I got a debt I got to pay off. Like the butcher, I promised him I'd pay him out this morning, and I didn't. They don't think about those things. A person that's really devoted to something good, he's not thinking about coming back out of that and what to do in the world. How can we expect from our own sons that they are so tremendously holy and God is infinitely more interesting and pleasurable and better, or whatever you want to call it, alive and dynamic than music or any of these other things? Music is wonderful, but nothing compared to God. A person that's a musician, he's standing on the stage, he's not thinking about anything else. And what was demanded of Aaron's two sons is that when they were clinging to God, they should have thought about something else. How could they think about something else? How could they think about them? Right? If the musician or the boxer or whatever, they can't think about anything else when they're involved in their thing, how do you expect Aaron, his two sons, to be thinking about something else, namely coming into the world when they're clinging to God? How could it be? Says the Rebbe, I'll tell you how. Here we're not talking about music and we're not talking about art or talking about whatever it is. We're talking about God. And God is infinitely good, but that's in the upper aspects of God, the closer you get to godliness. But God's also creating the world. And in fact, the reason that God even put us here was in order to work on the world. So if you want to come close to God, then you should want to do what God says. And that's going to be the secret. The service of running to God has to be with truth. Truth. B'shat er hold by their avoda, when a person is in this service of running to God, right, being involved in God, thinking about how wonderful God is, how high God is creating everything. The whole world is just like a big bluff. At that same time, you want to get closer and closer to the truth of the essence of God. Fadert sich from in is also demanded. Seine Ava zum Eberster soll sein. It should be that the love of God should be in all of your ways. Ma'od means your ways. God doesn't want you to leave the world. Er soll roisken from alle seine hagbolos. You have to go out of all of your limitations. One of your limitations is that you want to feel good. The room, because calls a man air all the time that a person hat een aanhold und is noch verbunden mit der Hagbala from Kalim, all the time that a person has his own definition, his own identity, and he is still limited to his vessels. What are his vessels? Intellect, emotions, his own personality, is thus nipkal mildecha. You're not serving God with all of your being. It says when we say Shema Yisrael, you have to serve God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your being. What does it mean, all of your being? Everything that you have, you don't even know what you have. If you serve God only with your pleasure and with your will and with your love, and you want to come close to God, that's very commendable. That's very commendable. But that's not the whole thing. There's much more to it than that. What can be more than serving God with all of your being? Is when gefint, when a person is found in a rutzo, going toward God, on kind of ballas, without any limitations, wie can bevarnen? How can it possibly be that he should not go out of his being totally like Aaron's sons did, but exactly the opposite? He should come back into the world. How can there be two opposites? How can there be two opposites at the same time? As you do, it's known in dem azat bevornish darf sein bald beim ane mratzo, that you should know. As soon as if you want to come closer to God, and the Rebbe is going to say in the end, come on, what's all this relevant to us? I mean, we're coming close to God, and we're like Aaron's sons. You know, tell this to really high people, big tzaddikim. Why to us? You're going to see, because this is very relevant to all of us. When a person starts serving God and wanting to come closer to God, the first thing he has to have in his mind is, I want to come back and improve the world. Oyib Zain Kiruv, if him coming close to God is just running, kumt nit weil zoche sein tov, if it's because he wants what's good for me, I want. If there's any egotism mixed up in the business, sudi vos veis as kirvas elokim lito, because he feels that it's good to me. For him, for me, it's good. Sein nenter, to be close to God, nor the ratzon, this running to God, kumt by him bichdei zu durchführen the ratzon elyon. But it should be that he wants to come close to God because that's what God wants. Then Tziva Kodesh Baruch Hu, God says you should love me with all of your being, is vibald, but because sucht oisführen nit sein ratzon, if you're doing it because God wants it, not because what you want, nor dem ratzon elyon, but what Hashem wants, un veist, and he knows as the kavanah, that the upper intention of God is b'shafen devel, to make a world, is because the reason God made the world is not so that we should get out of it, so we should realize that the whole world is a big fake out and get out of it. No, the fact is the world is a big fake out, but that's not why God put us in the world, to get out of it, but to correct the world, so it shouldn't be a big fake. God created the world in order that the world should exist. He wants there to be a world. Lo latohu bora, l'shavas yitzara. God did not create the world that we should just leave it and let it just go into chaos. God created the world so that we should make order in the world. So therefore, when a person starts to serve God, he wants to get into these secrets and mysteries, the first thing you should go in with the attitude I want to know these mysteries in order that I should be more motivated in my fixing up the world. Done in dom ois der ratzon milcharchila is a zoy often. If you're running toward God, is in such a way that the only reason you want to come closer to God and closer to the spiritual and more in tune with the upper worlds, if the reason you're doing it is in order to come down and fix up this world, so that I should have more integration, I should be more integrated, my soul with my body, so I can fix up the world. Nachdem ratzon, then for after you do this will come after you go closer to God, then you don't have any worries. You'll come back and you'll be okay. You won't be like Nadav and Avihu. Okay, what's the Rebbe telling us this for? I mean, we're not at this level, but first of all, everybody has to be to a certain degree on this level, because if you're in this world, you're in the world to fix the world. Everybody has a soul. Huh? You have a soul. I have a soul. Everybody's got a soul. If you haven't got a soul, then you can't come to class anymore. You're not alive. You have to have a soul. Everybody has a soul. What's your soul? The soul is a mystery. The soul is godliness. The soul has a connection to what's good and bad. There's a thing in the world called conscience. Conscience, people have a conscience that tells them your conscience can also be fooled. But nevertheless, there is such a thing as conscience that can, I say, sense that there's higher values in the world, and I'm in this world in order to manifest these values in the world. In the world. And so if a person thinks the main thing is that I have to fix up the world, but I can't do it unless I'm really connected to God, and the more connection to God I have, the more I can fix up the world, that's the good attitude. That's a good attitude. But if you think this world is terrible and it's awful and I'm getting out of here, I want to get connected to God, well, you're right, God is really good and it's wonderful, and the world really is terrible, but you got the whole wrong attitude. The reason the world is terrible and that God is good is so that we should make the world good too. According to this, and we have to make the world. According to this, we can understand a very scary story that is told about in the Talmud, in Chagiga. It says that there were 4 great Talmudic scholars that went into Pardes. They went into the secrets of the Torah. Pshat, Remesh, and so they went into the secrets of the Torah. Who were they? There was Ben Azai, Ben Zoma, Acher, Elisha ben Avua, that's Acher, and Rabbi Akiva. 4. It says Ben Azai, he went into these deep secrets of the Torah. They realized these upper worlds, and they saw this pure spirituality. He looked and he died. Too much, couldn't take it. Ben Zoma said he looked and he went crazy. He said that Elisha ben Avua, he looked what he saw and he decided that there's 2 gods. There's 2 gods. There's not just one God. He became an apostate. And Rabbi Akiva, it says, Nichnas b'shalom v'yotze b'shalom. Rabbi Akiva, he went in to these secrets in peace and he came out in peace. That's what the Gemara says. The only one that came out from these spiritual endeavors that they did, only one that came out okay was Rabbi Akiva. Why? Because he went in peace and he came out in peace. At first glance, the unterschied, the difference between Rabbi Akiva and the others is by the fact that he came out in peace. All the others came out, the messed up. They all came out. One died, one went crazy, one became an apostate. And Rabbi Akiva, he came out okay. Was Rabbi Akiva, that's what it should say. The Rabbi Akiva said that he came out in peace. That's the main thing. Why does the Gemara say that he went in peace? Over in the Ryan, how we went in, that's not relevant to us. What do we care about how we went in? Is was unterstreicht? Why does it stress the Gemara say? Why does the Gemara stress the fact that Rabbi Akiva, he went in to these secrets in peace? So what does it say? 4 these great Talmudic scholars, geniuses, Kabbalists, they went into the secrets of the Torah. 3 of them went crazy, and 1 of them came out okay. But that's not what it says. It says that 3 of them went crazy, and Rabbi Akiva, he went in peace and he came out in peace. What do we care about how he went in? The main thing is how he came out. But now we can understand. But the meaning is the Hatzitzva made that what it says that Ben Azai he went crazy was given is because he, what did it mean he died? That wasn't a punishment. It was like not of an avil. He just went out of his body. He just didn't want to have any connection to the world anymore. And that's it. It was so pleasant and so wonderful being close to God, right? Being close to these upper spiritual worlds that he just didn't want to come back and he died. Zayin Arangan, that the reason that he went into these secrets of the Torah, the pardes, is given is because a ratzoi that he wanted to go closer to God, mit kalos and nefesh, and be expiring to God, anashuv without coming back at all. Like we said about same thing also with Ben Zoma. Why did he go crazy? He said he just saw how blissful it was, how wonderful it was, and he just couldn't take it, and he went crazy because he wasn't thinking about any responsibility to the world. That's the point. They didn't want to accept on themselves responsibility to fix up the world. They just wanted pleasure. Udos was by him. Isn't it given their shuv, and that which there was no return is because lecharchila, that which Ben Azai and Ben Zoma, that they had a bad result, is because when they went, it's not so much about what happened in when they what they saw, but the attitude they had when they went into these secrets. The attitude they had going into the secrets is, I want to be close to God. That's all they thought about. It wasn't in order that, therefore, they didn't go in peace. But Rabbi Akiva had said he came out in peace. Why? Weil, because nichnas b'shalom, you went in peace. Zayin Kanisa is given that Rabbi Akiva went into these secrets of the Torah. It wasn't for his own personal pleasure or, how do you say, spiritual development or whatever. No, given in order to zurich führen the ratzon, and only order to fill out the will of God, to machen shalom b'pamilya shalmailo b'pamilya shalmata, to make peace between the upper worlds and the lower world. Mechaber zayin, joining together, mila un mata, to join together up and down. Verbinden Welt, to connect God with, to connect the world with God, the creation with the Creator. Because they all, Rabbi Akiva, he went in peace. In other words, his reason for going into these secrets of the Torah was in order to fix up the world, not just for his own personal agenda. Therefore, Yotzev V'Shalom, he came out in peace. This is what we're saying. This is the warning we have over here. Al yavo b'chol 8. Do not come at any time you want to into the holy place. Bezot, only in this. It says b'chaper ba'ado ba'ad beito. It says, first of all, you have to bring forgiveness for him and all the people of his family. Vos is them marumas, which this is the vos in them, which in this is marumas hints at the shlila, the how do you say the prohibition from serving God because you want to come close without coming back into the world. What did it say? Al yavo kodesh. Do not come into the kodesh. Al yavo b'kol. Do not come at all times into the holy places. What does it mean? Do not. You have to stress when you're going in close to God. You want to be spiritual. You have to stress the negative part of it. What's the negative part? You're going to do a good thing. You're going to come close to God. What's the no good? You have to have a al. You have to have a negate yourself. Bitlatzmi. Velenitem the rein einam kiruv. You have to go in with this negative feeling. Negative what? Negating yourself. You're not going in to be close to God because of yourself, because you want to get close to God, you want to be spiritual, and you want the truth. And what those are all noble things, noble pursuits, no doubt about it. He wants to separate himself from the foolishness of this world and from the vanity of all these religions. And I'm going to go to heaven and everything. He wants to get close to God. I want to be close to God. I want to be close to the truth. I want to be close. That's Judaism, right? Says that's half of Judaism. That's half of it. The other half is fixing up the world. And maybe we can even say it's even more, that let's say 4/5 is fixing up the world. You just can't do it unless you're inspired. That's what it means, al yavo. When you go in, it should be an al with a negativity. Negate yourself. Negate your own selfishness. You have to be sure that what you're doing in Judaism is not for yourself. It's not to go to heaven and not to this. Listen, if there's no other choice, so you can do it for that reason. But you have to know that that's infantile. It's like the children that are good because you give them candies. If nothing else will make them good, so you give them candies. But you can't keep them giving candies. I don't want another candy. You're already 25 years old. Come on, no candies. I'm not going to take out the garbage. I'm going to make trouble in the house. Okay, take a candy. That's good. Now, okay, if that's the only thing that's going to keep him quiet, is to give him candies and say, okay, you're going to go to heaven. You're going to get a big blessing. You're going to get this, and if you don't, go to hell. If that's the only thing, that's a very infantile way to serve the Creator. But okay, at least it keeps you in line. But don't think for 1 second that that's what God wants. Don't think for that that's the goal. That's like, having training wheels on your bicycle or something. As long as you have training wheels, you're not going to really go very far. That's not the ideal. You don't fall over. It's true. The same thing, going to heaven, going to hell. It'll keep you from falling over. But if that's what it is, then you haven't got the point. You're not a human being. You're like an animal. Right? It's like they train these porpoises. You give them a fish or something, they'll jump around, spin around. Same thing, you're going to go to heaven. Says the Rebbe, you have to eradicate Allah. You have to, as much as possible, eradicate or limit at least your feeling of I'm doing it for me. I want it for me. This is a very difficult thing to do because it's very, very natural. And especially, all the religions are all, they're all vying for first place. Like Alice in Wonderland, eat me, drink me. Others, yeah, I'm going to take you into heaven. No, don't listen to him. He's not going to take you into heaven. We're going to get you into heaven. The third religion says, no way. They're not going to get you into heaven. We're going to get you into heaven. If you don't follow my way, you go to hell. The other one says, what do you mean? It's my way you're going to go to hell. The other one says, no, all these three guys, they're all wrong. If you don't listen to me, you're going to go to hell, and I'm here to help you. I am your real friend. They're all bluffing. It's all the religions in the world are lies. They're all lies. Rambam brings a sentence from Jeremiah. All of the religions in the world, all of them are all lies. And the only truth is just to serve the God that took the Jews out of Egypt and gave them his Torah. And Judaism is no guarantee that it's not going to be also done in a selfish way. 99% chance that Judaism will also be selfish. But the Rebbe is trying to say, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it shouldn't be that way. And even you get people that are as holy as the sons of Aaron, they could have avoided it. How? By the Allah. You have to not take yourself so seriously. Whatever you feel, what you think, might not be the right thing. Says the Rebbe, if you're doing it for your own grand diet, for your own pleasure, for your own goals, then you're not doing it for the right reason. Therefore, and afterwards it says, Bazot yavo Aaron. This is what Aaron should do when he goes into the holy place. Zot, what does it mean? Is loiten bir azor. This means the word zot, according to the Zohar, the word zot means fear of God and surrender to God. Da tira la Allah. This is the gate to go up. What happens if you fear? What does it mean, fear? Fear means I'm not calling the shots. Whatever you want, God, I'm going to do. Whatever I say is not going to be right. Whatever you say is right, God. Well, let's hear what you have to say, right? That's the basic gate. You negate yourself, so to speak, and I want to hear what God has to say. Is da hakdama. If you start off with zot, with this fear of God, is a filu ven yavo el Aaron. Even when Aaron went into the holy place, Ratzui, going up, vel the rangan, we go into the inside, the inner chambers of godliness, the inner sanctum of the holy temple, as vet as in nichteren, it won't be there'll be nothing that will prevent him from v'chaper ba'ado ba'ad beito u'beito ze'ishto, that he'll be able to bring forgiveness for himself, his family, and all the Jewish people. So them shuv, in other words, coming out into the world and helping the world. Adrabah, always felt there, if he's not thinking about his home, his wife, his surrounding, as kener nit zayin kenisa lifnei avanim. This is a Kohen Gadol that's not married. He can't go into the Holy of Holies. They had to have a spare wife. In fact, in case his wife passed away before he went in, as he would have a spare wife, because he had to be married. And this is what the idea is, that he has to be considering coming out into the world, while they're tachlis from the rutza, because the ultimate purpose of running, getting close to God, coming close to God, is a root coming that it should come back down into a shuv, into the world. Which, by the way, in Judaism, none of the great leaders of Judaism, the founders of Judaism, were unmarried. Being not married is not a good thing in Judaism. Being not married that is not considered to be holy. A holy person in Judaism is not a person that's a celibate or lives on a mountain or something like that. Holiness is, you have a wife, you have a family. Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, even Elijah the prophet, they all had children. They all were married and they had children. And Moses also, just after when Moses went in to receive the Torah, then God said to separate him from his. But Moses had children, he had a wife, he had children. And so a rab kommen in shuv, it has to come, a person has to be in the world. When a zoy is oich geven beim arum gain ifnei. Also, the same thing is when the Aaron went into the Holy of Holies, Balta Roiskin, as soon as he came out from the Holy of Holies, as there's Zelber going to the same high priest, what would he do? He would pray for the people. A tefillah of Parnasa, for what? That the people should have a livelihood. From Amcha B'Israel, the livelihood of the Jewish people. And those people should have bread on the table, and they should have a roof over their house, over their heads. Parnasa binyan olam hagashmis. So the high priest, the holiest person in the world, on the holiest day of the year, in the holiest place in the world, when he came out from these tremendously high levels, what's the first thing he did? He blessed the Jewish people that they should have money, that there shouldn't be any poverty in Israel. Because the whole purpose of the Holy Temple is to make this world a better place. As we will continue, God willing, tomorrow, and I'll tell you a story.